Okay, I'm here with Yefim Shoykhet, a very good friend of mine. We've been working together for 30 years. He is the head coach of the Tidal Wave Swim Team and the Aquatic Director at the Union Boys and Girls Club in Union, New Jersey. And Yefim, thank you so much for joining us here. We really appreciate your time. So we're gonna talk a little bit about Yefim's unique experiences in the swimming world, which I think a lot of people will be really amazed at some of the things that he's accomplished and where he came from, and maybe give us a little bit of a view of how our programs differ than some of the other programs around the world. So you had started originally, if I'm right, coaching in the Soviet Union. Is that right, Yefim?
Yes.
Okay. And then what levels did you coach on?
As any coach, many coaches starting with teaching swim lessons, entry level, age group level, and you go through the development, you develop up to junior, senior, national level in former Soviet Union, and many other like meets which was available, big ranking meets. And it's how you go, like from after college when graduate, you're just entry-level coach and you develop yourself to different level.
And you would, if I'm right, you were saying that you developed up to and worked with both junior and senior national athletes. That would be the kind of the equivalent here in the U.S. Is that right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
So you did very well with that. And then in addition to that, can you tell us a little bit, why you got started in coaching and got into swimming like this?
It's again we're looking back about 50 years
Right.
when sports was different than right now. Mm-hmm. Most like amateur sport, not like professional sports, because I was involved in sports like be a swimmer and rowing, which is very related sports. And I'd like to work with kids, with athletes to develop to different levels. That's why I went to special college, which graduate for coaching degree to coach.
And so when you were young, you were an athlete as well then, right? You were a
Yes.
breaststroker, if I'm right. Is that right?
Yes, breaststroke, in college, some breaststroke, yes.
Got it.
Like you.
Right, like me. Right. So and then I remember that I had a friend of mine that went over to I think it was called a Russian junior national meet at the time. And he was a great breaststroker, Tom Kafka, and he won the meet over there. And from what I understand, he was there, you were there, and you guys probably didn't meet, but also Doc Counsilman, who was also a breaststroker, and you guys got to meet there. Is that right?
Yes. First of all, if you remember when Doc Counsilman published his first book, Science of Swimming, I think it was like 60s somewhere, and was translated to Russian and become very famous book to all Russian coaches.
Was that the Science of Swimming?
Yes, Science of Swimming. His first book, he had another one after. And everybody was proud to have his book.
Yeah.
And I believe in 1985, I'm not sure what the years, it was only 2 dual meets on junior level between USSR and USA.
Right.
And one of the meets was held on Moldova. We had at that time very good new pool, and USSR won 2 points over USA.
Wow.
Yes, and was very good meet, interesting, and we met Counsilman there as a coach, and it was very exciting to see him. And we all bring these books, and he signed autograph on this one. So I still have it.
There was a lot of tension between our countries at that time, but it doesn't sound like it carries over into the people at all. Is that right?
It's not carry over when you involved in sports, whatever. We're
We're in
trying
our
to
own world, right?
stay away from politics and more.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
It's a very different. It's a competitive world, but a fun world that way.
On that time, like it was politics and sport as part of politics to compete against these two countries, Olympic Games, World Championship, and many other things.
And although you and by the way, you have a signed copy of that book, if I'm right too. You got his original signature on there, which not many people in the world have. That's great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes, and again, just on that time, and as who swam for John Counsilman, he was like pioneer of science in swimming, and we took a lot of things from that book. And second book came a couple of years after.
Right, the competitive swimming manual or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I've got a few of those signed because that's when I kind of went out to meet and swam with them. So,
if you mention John, if you dog Counsilman, like in coaches like your age, my age, everybody knows Counsilman.
Right. And let me ask you this, because it seems like you did very well in the Soviet Union, and then you came to the U.S. And when you came to the U.S., it seems like you got better and better, because you're actually coaching a number of really great athletes and have since I've seen you in the last even 5 years. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Who do you have now that's doing so well?
Everything needs time. When I came in US, I just took like very beginner level of swim team, which took for me number of years to develop new generation of that. And during the coaching, you have to recognize some dedicated and talented swimmers. And not only that, is connection with family, which is I was very lucky with family of Rincon, who is basically my successful swimmers.
Got it.
It's a lot of things to work with. It's not just.
And these guys are, if I'm right, not just fast swimmers, but highly, like, really successful academically as well. Is that right? I think both of them are going to.
Yes, Natalia graduated from Johns Hopkins University, and now she's on PhD program. And Anthony, her brother, who is more successful in swimming, he is starting Harvard University. So
you've got, in just a few years, you've got at least a couple swimmers, right, that are in the highest rankings, basically in schools in the country here.
Yes,
that's fantastic. And you've done a lot of travel with them too, and even other than them, you have even more swimmers that, right, you've traveled with all over the world, if I'm right.
Yes, because they citizen of Colombia, and I traveled with them to Colombian National Championship, where they won many events, and through the Colombian national team, we went like Copa Pacifica, South American Games, South American Championship, and Anthony was represent a country in Youth Olympic Games in Argentina, Barcelona, where he was 7 on 200 back. Same thing in Junior World Championship in Budapest, 7 and 200 back. But as pandemic stopped us to move, and of course he was finalist in junior national in USA and TWST meets. He's
doing fantastic.
And everything was raised in our club. It took for me like up to 10 years to develop this athlete. It's not overnight job.
So that's a lot of work. That's
yes.
A lot of. So can I ask you, just from a standpoint, in your opinion, I've asked a number of people this and they have different answers. In your opinion, what's more important, passion or performance?
I think it's combination of everything. You cannot take away one thing because it's like some of puzzles. You should put together. If one puzzle not working, it's gonna affect your performance.
It's okay. Yeah, so you got to have both of these, right?
Yes.
Now, I know you've dealt with this before, but do you feel like it's more important for the swimmer to have it inside them, like internal, or more from an external standpoint where it's coming from the coach's motivation? Which one's got to have the main motivation?
It's very hard to tell you which is very important. I think everything is important if you be able to control and balance these things. You give information to swimmer what and how, and after that it's their job go from inside out and how you be able to put things together and communicate with them and found better solution. You cannot say which is important what, balance and every day analyze what should be done next.
So you've got a really unique view here from our standpoint. We're going to be asking a number of coaches from different parts in the world about this, and we'd love to have your view. You come from Moldova area, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and so that's kind of more southern, is that right? In
yes, it's by Black Sea, border with Romania.
Okay, got it. So what's the difference in that you've seen in the system that at least at the time that you were there? What was the difference in the system that you saw going there versus what you see here going as a system of developing athletes?
You know, back in Soviet Union and study what we learn in college and many conferences what I attend, first step in developing, you select people for appropriate sport, which is first step to get into.
How old are they when they're selected on average?
We select between age 6 and 8, pretty much same as here. But America is different because I can give you one example. It was match dual meet in St. Petersburg, I think 1982, between USA and USSR. It was parade. And when USSR parade to the pool, they all selected. Tall, skinny, nice look, you know, swimmer body.
Right.
And came like American USA team, short, tall, different body. It was looking like how this team can win over, and they won.
So it was varied.
Yeah. So you're saying like about selection, what we did, but life selecting too, who have passion, who have hard work ethic. I'm saying like this, hard work beat talent.
Interesting. That's really interesting. So I didn't actually start swimming till I was 9 years old, like racing. And I was a late developer. I had a friend of mine that could grow a full beard and mustache at 12 years old. And I still can't. At this point, I'm 58. I still can't do it. So just the facial hair alone, though, I think probably I caught up to him somewhere around 27 years old from where he was at 12. So I think that if I were in the Soviet Union, I would not have been selected, if I'm right.
Maybe. I cannot answer.
Even today, right? I'm 5'11", so I think I might be out.
Oh, listen, sometimes it's up to coach who more wise to be able to see some hardworking people. I had hardworking people. I had talented people and lazy people. And hardworking achieve more. They have average ability, but they achieve more. So this is a vision of coaches' skills, how you be able to see who you're seeing, who you're talking. It's many things. I cannot tell you in a couple minutes all the things.
So let me ask you this from a standpoint of swimming pools that are accessible to the average person, after school programs, things like that in the Soviet Union. What's the difference between here in the U.S. and there?
Okay. Different. When we start, was very popular in Soviet Union. When we select kids, we select them in a couple of years, we teach them technique, etc. In grade like 4 and 5, we put kids from one city or region in one class in school, which call sport classes. And we give them special schedule to be able to do double practice and plus training camps, etc. So this is big plus what we're not doing here in USA. It
So
can
they
be
have a
plus,
very
can be not.
contained. It looks like, it sounds like a very contained, right? Do they live still with their parents or no?
In sport classes, yes. After that is another stage. It's called boarding schools. Sport boarding schools, like we had number of these schools around the Soviet Union when they got all financial support from government. They living there, they training there. It's very close to training centers. They have medical support, they have nutrition, they have many things which is very hard to do in like regular swim school or here in US. We all independent swim teams, and when you have good relation with parents and they can listen to you, you can achieve more. This is big like outside of.
Because that's a huge honor, right? At that point, that's a huge honor for them, right?
Yes, yes.
To be selected like that. And are there, so at that point, how old are they usually when they go to the boarding schools?
How old they? It's after 12.
Okay.
Years old.
And
It depends.
Were you involved in that level of the program at all?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So,
yeah, my swimmers, let me continue, went to these boarding schools. I was involved in this, and on top of that, because they try to develop another system, which is some similar in US, but this is more private. We had swim centers, which was regional, spread around the country. It was part of this boarding school, and kids who went to college, they still have like dormitory, they still have like nutrition, food, and medical support, which is very important. And rehabilitation, plus rehabilitation. When I came here and talked to some national level of swimmers and talking about some rehabilitation, which is scheduled through the developing, they're looking at me, they're not doing this one here on that time. Right now, they're doing more and more, but this is more private. You have to pay for that, you know. But rehabilitation and nutrition is big part of training.
So the parents are paying for that, for their
here, not there.
Yeah, here you pay for it. There it's provided. Is that right?
When Soviet Union was yes, was support from government. Right now, it's different story.
Got it. Yeah, because it's very different over there at this time.
Right.
And so that's very different. So you had all these resources, but you also, in some ways, missed some of the swimmers that might have been late developers. And then from here, how do you see it? Why do you think that the U.S. has been so successful? I know, you guys were very successful as well, right? Why do you think the U.S., because now you get to actually see it and be part of that process here, why do you think that we're so successful here?
I think one of the success is number of kids participate in program. I cannot recall exact number, but I can tell you like this: whatever number of kids swimming from summer league, YMCA, and clubs, and take all another world in US, it's more swimmers involved, kids involved in sports than all entire world. And through this number, somebody have to swim fast, right? And don't get me wrong, we have in US number of good coaches who can pick up.
Right. And so, yeah, it's a very unique type of situation.
Unique situation, I'm sorry, unique situation which can be happening only in this country.
Right. And I was actually going to mention, I had an interview with the top athlete in Morocco back in the 1980s. And he was telling me that the kids get out of school there at 5 o'clock p.m., 6 o'clock p.m. So there's not really any opportunity for sports programs to exist after school, because then they got to go home, study, and get ready for dinner and go to bed, basically. What time did they get, if you know or remember at all, what time was it there? Did they get out?
John, again, it was a unique situation which was happening in Eastern countries like Germany and Russia. Sport classes, it's full day involvement. If we need like morning practice, they go to school from second period or third, whatever we needed. Okay, when they done school, we had teacher who was sitting after school to do homework with them.
Wow, it's almost like a tutor at that point.
Right, and do some recreation too. And after that, we had buses who brings them to swimming pools. It's not only swimming, it was number of sports like this. So you have basically control all day. When parents at work, children was take care. When I came here and I start immediately working as coach in 1991, and this was like superintendent of board of ed from union, and I asked him questions about how we can organize sport classes. He looking at me, he don't understand what I'm talking about. It's not exist here. Right. But in USA, there is boarding schools, right?
Yes.
Which swimmers coming all around the world.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
It's about maybe 15, 20 boarding schools.
Right.
Doing good in swimming. This is, again, unique situation. Soviet Union and USA. It's two different systems.
Got it. Wow. And I think, if I'm right, I believe this is a whole swimming family you have here. Is that right? Your son's involved in swimming. Your wife's involved. All of you guys. You just love swimming.
Yes, we're swimming family. Back to Soviet Union. We're working with my wife in Olympic Reserve swim schools, and our son started swimming there. We came when he was 10 years old. He was continuing here to swim. And back to 1997, my wife started swim school, learn to swim program.
And I've seen her teach before. She's phenomenal. And I can only imagine, I know your son Vadim, and he runs a program inside New York City. What's the program called?
He started after school when he graduated, learn to swim program in New York City.
Got it.
And he have a lot of kids, and again, right now with this pandemic, all pool is closed, which is gonna hurt business.
Sure.
But yeah, and he is aquatic director for some private school when he running like phys ed classes, learn to swim program.
Okay, and what's his company called?
Physics Swimming.
Got it, and that's
Physics Swimming, and we have website. People can look at physicswimming.com, and they see many locations what we have. Right now, everything, of course, is closed.
Right. And physique is spelled P-H-Y, is that right?
Yeah, Physique.
Got it. And so,
Physique is body shape.
and I think if I'm right, he does, you know, kind of all levels. Is that right?
Right, and again, very interesting. We came here, we bring best what we had there here, and make adaptation in this country. Because again, we start swim school in '97. It's already how many years, right?
Right.
And I start like as aquatic director and head coach in 1992. Almost 30 years, more than I worked there.
And these are very unique in my opinion, because I've seen the teaching, and what you see is a combination of kind of the best from the programs they had over in the Soviet Union combined with, you know, the best things from here. So it's kind of a unique type of approach, and they do a great job with kids. It's not like an average swim lesson. It's amazing.
You know, one of unique, again, it's two different countries. In Soviet Union, to be a coach, to be a swim teacher, you have to have college degree.
Mm.
Okay. Here, when I came, basically everybody can be a coach to pass some test or whatever.
Right.
And who is teaching swim lessons back to Soviet Union? It's adults after college. Here we have high school, we have college. They will go through some different program, Red Cross, whatever. Not many of them is great. It should be. It depends on supervisor who can provide them right direction how to do this one, and supervisor, which sometimes I'm not seeing like right things to do. And you know that too. We talk about that.
Right. I have to say, Yefim, you have shed some very clear light, I think, for a lot of people here on some of the unique aspects of our programs, of the programs that were held in the Soviet Union. And I really appreciate your time. I think if you don't mind, I'm hoping we're going to be able to get you back on the show if you have some time sometime, because I would love to talk to you all day. I think this is great. So thank you so much for helping us with this.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, we'll talk to you real soon. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.